I'm Amber Davis, and this is your 5-minute call. This is the space where musical theatre takes centre stage. From unforgettable backstage stories with incredible special guests to insights from my life and my theatre journey. We're leaving it all on the mic every single week, so let's jump in. Hi guys, welcome to your 5-minute call with me, Amber Davis. Now, I have a very, very special guest on the sofa today. It's the one and only Ben Joyce.
Hello.
My roommate.
I'm here. I've made it.
My boy. This person was requested a lot, so we thought, let's do it.
Requested a lot, hey?
A lot.
Wow, okay.
We did put up a question on the page Instagram with questions that you've got for us, and we are going to try and get round to all of them. So it's going to be a part 1 and part 2 for you. You're quite a special guest.
Wow, 2 parts, 2.
So let's start with either Frankie or Marty. It doesn't matter. What's your pre-show ritual?
Ooh. So is this one of the questions that was sent in?
No, this is just...
To start?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do this. Have you listened to my podcast, Ben? He probably hasn't even listened to my podcast.
No, I have. I saw there was lots of questions in, and I was like, wow, is this the first one we're going with?
Right, he's exposed himself there, guys.
No, I do. Oh my God, I've watched loads. I always say this one, and this is so basic though, but I always have to brush my teeth. Just hygiene.
We've had that before.
Okay. Gosh. I don't do a lot. I just kind of, there'll be music on. Yeah, maybe sometimes. And you know my taste in music is very eclectic. Like, it's a bit of everything. So I'll listen to, I'm really into a bit of Ray at the minute, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a bit into Ray.
Wow.
I listen to a bit of Elton John. 80s music, obviously, because it's an 80s show. Maybe it was a little bit different when I was playing Frankie. I'd maybe listen to some stuff in like the 60s.
Okay.
You know, the period.
Yeah.
So
he's an old soul, Mr. Ben Joyce.
I am, yeah. So like some music. I'll always go and say hello to everyone and just make sure everyone's like, doing okay. I'll go see Corey. I'll go see, when you were there, I'd come and see you before.
At the 5 every time.
Every time. Mm-hmm. And I do the same now. I'll go and do my rounds at the 5. I'll go see Ollie. I'll go see Sarah. I'll go see Jay. I'll see Corey. Mm-hmm. And I'll see everyone obviously before the show. But that's about it. Like, it's basic.
Well, now that I'm away, we actually do FaceTime at the half sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. If we're
it's a little ritual. If we're busy in the day.
We'll squeeze it in, won't we, before the show?
Yeah.
It's quite funny though, isn't it? Because we're both getting ready. So like I'm topless, you're
just as a hooker.
or you haven't got your wig on yet, so it's just like
a wig cap.
Wig cap, and it is a glamorous life, isn't it? A glamorous relationship.
It is. Right, so you trained. Let's talk about your training, Mountview. How old were you when you went there?
I was 18. I went straight from I went to like a BTEC college in Swansea. And then I went straight from there to Mountview. I'd auditioned for a couple of places, Arts Ed, Mountview. I'd got into Mountview, got some funding to go to Mountview. So I went there and I did my 3 years. I did all the,
Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. I met some amazing people there.
You did.
And, you pick up all your kind of the basics that you need in this industry.
Yeah.
You pick up all the things, your dance technique, your singing technique, your acting technique, and it's like a little toolbox then that you kind of take along with you for.
That's such a lovely way of thinking about it, that drama school's like a toolbox. We haven't had that yet, so
yeah, it is
brilliant thing to say.
It was always, you could always put whatever you felt you needed into the toolbox too. So if there was things that you thought, oh, that really doesn't work for me, or I don't find that effective, then you can kind of put that in the shed. And put all the things that you do find help you and connect with you put in your toolbox.
I like that a lot. So you did graduate from Mountview, but you left early. Yes. Because you decided to book a job on the West End.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Casually. Just walked straight onto the West End. So talk to us about that. So Frankie Valli, Jersey Boys, Trafalgar Theatre.
Yes.
Audition came in.
So, I'd started my 3rd year in the September. We'd done our first show by the December, and I'd got representation from that, so I'd signed then. And then I'd started getting auditions through some TV stuff. I did this little TV gig, like one line in The Power. We watched it, didn't we?
We did watch it a few times, actually, and it was a great one line.
A great one line.
Why don't you say it here?
What is it again? Oh, yeah. I said Taylor White has it.
Yeah. And do you know what?
In referral to the power.
Yeah.
She had the
power. Say it again.
Okay, ready? You sure? Taylor White has it.
And he was so good. Honestly, I rewinded it about 20 times.
So anyway, I did that. That was done. I did that. That was nice. I enjoyed that. A lovely little taste to TV.
Yeah.
And then I had some theatre auditions. I had a Moulin Rouge audition for ensemble in Moulin Rouge.
How did that dance call go?
Shan't talk about that. That was, I mean, a great choreography in that show.
Could you do it?
I give it a good bash. Let's just say that. Anyway, so I did that, and then I'd got an audition for Jersey Boys, which was like my dream show, my dream job. It was the first musical I'd ever seen on the West End when I was about 13, maybe.
Not long ago then.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, just before my audition. And so I was like, hey, I'd love to be like Joe Pesci, cover Frankie, or swing, like whatever. I'll take whatever to be in the show.
So you went in not with the intention of actually booking Frankie?
No, well, but like, I mean, everyone goes in with the intention of getting their dream role.
But realistically, you thought you'd probably be
I was
a cover.
like, I've just graduated, you know, I look so young. Like I looked so young. I looked like I just come out of drama school.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, if we're going to be realistic, and I was saying this with Jack, my agent as well, if we're going to be realistic, I'm in with the chance of getting a cover and covering Frankie Valli.
Yeah.
So I went in. First round, I was actually in for Frankie because the cover, Joe Pesci sings all the Frankie stuff. So I was in for Frankie. Then second round, I was back in for cover. I was like, okay, this is more like it. And then third round, I was back in for Frankie. And then fourth round, I was in for Frankie again. And then before I turned around, I was in the finals, which was so exciting, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Being a grad.
Intimidating, I bet.
Yeah, it was. But my whole life and my whole training, it was like I was seeing it flash before my eyes, and I was like, everything has come to this moment. Everything has come to this point, and I have to get this. And so I, you know, just gave it my best shot.
And your best shot was good enough, my darling.
And I got it. And then
changed your life.
It did change my life. Yeah, it did. I look back at it now, and it's kind of like I can't even imagine it happening. It flashed before my eyes, and it was very overwhelming because, like I said, it was everything I'd ever dreamed of had come true.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And tell them about you did a tribute when you were younger.
Yeah, I did.
Frankie Valli tribute.
I did. I had been in a youth theatre in Swansea it was called the Sir Harry Seacombe Trust at that point. It's called Harry Youth Theatre now. We do this variety show every year where we do like little snippets of songs from shows. And me and three of the other boys wanted to do a Jersey Boys medley. So we did. And that's kind of how I got into it. Then we ended up going on a trip with the theatre to go and see the show.
Just how crazy is that, though, that you literally sung the material when you were younger?
Yeah, I was about 15, I'd say, 14.
Could you proper sing it?
Well, my voice hadn't broken properly by that point. Or it was very, very high at least. And so it was kind of just, it was just like there. And so I guess kind of growing up and my voice breaking, I'd kind of sung it into my voice as I was breaking. And so that's how it started. And someone like must have seen a video of me or something. And a guy that was in Jersey Boys years ago, Ben Evans, he's a lad from Hendy, which is in South Wales. And he was doing this Frankie Valli tribute called the Valley Boys, kind of a play on words, Frankie Valli and being from the Valleys. And he'd seen me, said, hey, would you like to cover some of my gigs as Frankie? Because I can't do a couple. And then I did that. He was like, oh, great, you're cool. And then he was like, do you want to come in and do it with us kind of full time? So it was me, Ben, a lad called Andrew Phillips, and another lad called Ricky Lewis. And we started doing gigs, you know, all over South Wales.
The Valley Boys.
The Valley Boys, yeah. And we did this amazing tribute show called Glastonbury.
Love it.
Glastonbury, but set in Barry. Or not set in Barry, but was put on in Barry, in a park in Barry. And so we did stuff like, so that was my introduction to it, really. So I have a lot to thank to them.
I think you low-key manifested it into your life.
Oh my God, yeah. So it was kind of in my bones from a very young age.
What was your favourite thing about playing Frankie?
My favourite thing about playing Frankie, which is funny because before I got the role, all that mattered was doing the show. But my favourite thing about being in Jersey Boys and experiencing Jersey Boys was the people in it. The whole cast we were a small cast, so we all got along very well and we were very close. We'd all come out of lockdown. It was the first show lots of the people in that show had done from being in lockdown and from COVID. So it was very special. But most importantly, the other three boys was a very special relationship.
Pals.
We were all best pals, and I'm so glad that I met all the people in that show. But I'm so glad that I met those three:
Adam Bailey,
Carl James Wilson, and Benjamin Yates.
We love you, boys.
Yeah, we do. And
you do.
Yeah.
More than me.
I think that's what made it. No, I do. Well, no, not more than you. I love them. And what was amazing was I went from one job where I met amazing people that are going to be in my life for the rest of my life to then go on to Back to the Future and meet in this one. Do you know what I mean? So I've done quite well.
You have done very well. Right, moving on then to Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Marty audition came up. What was your thoughts? Because it's a different role altogether than Frankie.
Well, it wasn't a lot of thoughts, really.
You knew I was in for it and thought I must work there.
Oh, yeah. What? Because I knew that you were in for the role of Lorraine.
He actually knew I was in for it.
I did. But it wasn't until very later on. I think I'd got the role when I found out who was playing my mum.
Okay, let's get that out there then.
So my agent had said, "Oh, this might be a role for you," and I kind of didn't think much of it. Then I went to see the show and I thought, "Wow, this is amazing! This show and this role." Yeah, and then I got my audition. I kind of fell in love with it as I was auditioning for it.
Yeah,
it wasn't something I thought, "Oh my god, I need to go and do this job." I thought this might be one for me, and then I kind of did my first round, second round, and by the end, I was like, I have to get this job.
So now Ben is in his second year of Back to the Future, playing Marty McFly.
Yeah.
Big gig, big sing. I mean, you don't leave the stage, do you, for 2.5 hours?
No. But very, very similar to Viv now.
Yeah, very similar to Viv, but you love Marty, don't you? You know, you've had the time of your life.
I have. And like you said, it is a hard role. It's a very hard role, and it's very physical. It's a big sing. It's even the dialogue is like...
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's so high energy. But
rewarding role.
But yeah, it has changed. It changed my career path, or just was so different to Frankie, or so different to anything I would have imagined me playing when I was at drama school. Like I never thought, I'm going to play Marty McFly in Back to the Future. But one, because it was a very new musical.
Yeah. Obviously, they just won the Olivier the year before for Best New Musical, so it was kind of the one to watch.
Yeah, it was. Oh my gosh, yeah, totally. And the cast that were in it when we got cast were the original cast.
Yeah.
So there was
a lot of the original casting.
Big shoes to fill. But it was just too exciting for me to kind of throw away an opportunity like that, or kind of say, oh, that's not something I want to do right now. I kind of knew it was what I needed to do. Getting to work with amazing people.
Roger Bart.
Yeah. And you. And the creators of the film, Bob Gale, Glenn Ballard. Oh, Glenn Ballard wasn't involved in the film, but he wrote some songs for the show with Alan Silvestri, who wrote the original score for the film.
And they're very hands-on, aren't they?
Very hands-on.
When it comes to the show.
It was just too cool to I had to do it. And what a challenge it was. And it's so different to Frankie. Like, Marty is so young and so full of life and endearing and loves his girlfriend so much, loves Doc Brown, loves music.
He's very, very close to you as a person.
I think just you can see how much he loves people, and you can see how much that relationship with Doc Brown that he has is like a father-son relationship.
Yeah.
And he adores his girlfriend Jennifer so much. He wants to kind of get back. The story's the story, and it's it was beautiful.
I think what's special with Back to the Future as well is the volume of the fan base.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, that's what keeps it so special.
Yeah.
The franchise is absolutely huge.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the Adelphi will ever run dry. I feel like it will constantly be booking and selling tickets.
Yeah, it's doing really well, and it's a fan favourite for sure. Did so well with the Oliviers here. And I think what shows how amazing it is to people, rather than like lots of theatre critics and stuff that have kind of, snubbed their noses at it. Broadway.com awards, the People's Choice Awards,
and is it
have stormed like on Broadway, like 13 nominations. Casey, Hugh, Roger. The show
Wow.
is all getting so much praise because those are awards that the people
It's
vote
a
for.
people show.
So yeah, it's the fans. We got all the fans from the film kind of converted over to the musical, so the fan base is huge.
Yeah, loyal. So
yeah,
loyal.
and they keep it going, and they support us so much, and they love us, and we love them. So yeah,
What would you say your highlight so far from playing Marty is?
there's so many, and I've been there for 2 years now. So there's so many highlights I've had. I have to say, I know you were on it literally the year after, but Dancing on Ice, well, that was so cool. Like getting to perform on telly.
We should say this story.
Yeah.
Basically, the year that we worked together on Back to the Future, Ben had been invited on to Dancing on Ice for the musicals week.
Yeah, we were going to perform Johnny Be Good. So
You
it was
did
me
Johnny
and,
Be Good.
and
Yeah,
three
three
or
ensemble
four
boys.
Starlighters, yeah.
And I just decided to go with him. I thought, why not? You know, I just as his girlfriend, just to support him. And the next thing you know,
Yeah, and then you're on it the next
we're in
year.
the semi-finals the next
It
year.
was kind of, that was a manifestation kind of thing as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But did you have a chat with one of the producers
No,
while you were there?
I
Like,
didn't.
hey, if you want to put me on this next year.
I swear I
said
didn't.
to her, I was like, you have to one up me, didn't you? I did one episode. You had to do the whole series. God.
But that was an amazing day.
That was cool.
Recently you met Ant and Dec.
Met Ant and Dec. We did this like tiny little thing for their final Saturday Night Takeaway, which was very cool. I've got to meet so many amazing people.
Yeah.
Celebrities that have come to see the show. Big fan. Like we had Tom Fletcher in from McFly, which was so cool because I was like, I've got to get a picture of Marty McFly with McFly.
We'll have to show you guys that.
So yeah.
Because they called themselves McFly because of Back to the Future.
I think, yeah, it was inspired by
yeah.
Back to the Future.
That's there you go. There's a fact for you. For
Yeah.
today.
But I think my favorite thing about this show is like lots and lots of amazing people are involved in this. Like we've got to meet so many, the fact that we've got to work with the writer of the original film.
Bob Gale.
Or the fact that the original director, John Rando, he will come back and work with us. The UK team here as well. We have, Richard Fitch, the associate director. And it was a UK-born show.
Yeah.
So it's just been really lovely to kind of be introduced to a new side of musical theatre where kind of movie and screen comes in the side as well.
Yeah. It's like the two worlds combined.
Yeah, wow, that is so cool. That is so cool. And I will always have the love of movies and the screen and, the hope that one day my career can kind of merge into that side of it. So having that taste of it through Bob is really cool.
I can feel it in my bones.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I can be a housewife.
Taylor White has it. There you go.
Born for the screen.
There you go.
I will be a housewife, and you can just rack in the cash.
Is that the plan?
You could be a huge Hollywood star, and I can just drive a Range Rover and go to Pilates on Tuesday.
Brilliant. But I think it's so cool where our career could kind of go.
Of course, the world's our oyster.
Yeah, and we
have this conversation quite a lot.
I always think, what will our lives look like 10 years from now? And where
I hope I have an
will we
engagement ring on my finger.
Do you?
I know, I mean that, Ben. I'm telling
Really?
you now, yeah. You're on a.
Better book a holiday or something.
We're going
like
to Lapland at
a
Christmas.
sunset. Oh, really? Too cold. You can't get your fingers out your gloves, can you? So,
Why does he have an excuse for everything?
well, it's just, the element of surprise is the best.
I'm saying this here right now. I've said 30 max. If I don't have a ring on my finger by 30, then you can live in the shed.
Great.
Now it's time for a quick interval. Go and powder your noses, and we'll see you in 2. Now that we spoke about your career and how, you're wonderful, Ben, and you're such a hard-working talent, and, everybody loves you in the industry. I fell in love with you. And I just know that your career's... It's only just begun, and it's already flying so high. They'll have an exclusive on here when you book your next job.
Oh, yeah.
I'll say it on here before you put it on your Instagram. So shall we get into our deets?
Yes.
Okay. We have had a lot of requests asking, how did we meet? So we met on Back to the Future, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we worked together. We were in the second year cast of Back to the Future. It was year 22 to year 23. As we were just discussing, Ben is playing Marty McFly. And I was playing Lorraine Baines, who was actually Ben's...
Yeah, Marty McFly's mother.
Mama.
And it's very interesting because when we say, or people that don't really know the show or the film, and I say, oh yeah, she played my mum, and there's kind of like a moment of, wait,
how
what?
old is she?
But if you know the show or the film, you start off as a 45-year-old. 47. Oh yes, 47. Lucky number. And then we go back in time to when Lorraine is 17. So you play two ages of Lorraine.
Yeah, I have an age range. And so for majority of the show, I was 17 years old. So it's not that weird.
Yes.
It's weird, but it's not that weird.
And we first met, well, the
In
first day
rehearsals.
of rehearsals. We had our like kind of like introduction day.
You were really sweaty.
I was so sweaty because I had gotten on the tube.
It was boiling, do you remember?
Boiling hot day. I was sweltering and there was delays or something. I can't remember what it was now. And I was legging it to rehearsals, legging it. I was like, it starts in, this was the first day. And it wasn't even like, it wasn't early morning, I don't think.
It wasn't,
might
it
be
was
like
2
2 o'clock, yeah. And I was just legging it. And I got there and I was wearing a top very similar to this. And it was just, the whole back was soaking.
And
so I was hugging everyone.
The first thing he said to me was, I said, hi, gave him a hug. He said, oh, I'm a little bit sweaty.
It's
That's
just
the
like,
first...
I'm a little bit sweaty.
Yeah. And that's the first thing you actually said to me.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
How romantic.
A lot of people are interested on like timeline of how we got together. So, well, in the start, actually, we were best friends, weren't we?
Yeah.
I feel like when you're Welsh people in a cast, you gravitate to... I'm from the north of Wales and Ben's from the south. You naturally, Welsh people gravitate towards each other, don't they?
Yeah, they do a little bit, yeah. And obviously, I knew who you were and I knew who Jade was as well.
Big fan of my sister Ben was.
I'd met Jade before I met you.
Yeah.
I think West End Live or something like that.
Yeah.
Because she was doing Welsh for the West End. And you were Welsh, so I knew of you, of course. And then I thought, this is amazing. And then we just we just got along really well, didn't we?
We just vibed straight away.
Yep.
We spent every lunch together. We just would talk non-stop. We just became very, very good friends. Oh, also, the night before we started rehearsals, I messaged you on Instagram. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I said, see you tomorrow, lover boy.
That's right, yeah.
What's the chances of that?
And then the
Look
rest
at
is
us now.
history.
Yeah, we were just literally, guys, the best of friends. I didn't see Ben in that way at all.
Mm.
And you didn't really see me in that way, did you?
No.
Did you fancy me?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course.
Duh.
You know, yeah.
No, I'm joking.
But yeah, like obviously we were just
Pals,
friends.
we were very,
just
very
started
good
working
friends.
together, and I was just kind of enjoying getting to know you as a
person. We were just like it was like two magnets, like came together and just loved each other's company, really.
Yeah, and we'd have dinner together every
lunch.
day,
lunch every day, and then do you remember that time you went on a date?
Yes.
Tell them what happened.
Well, I went on a date and...
During rehearsals?
Yeah, it was just during rehearsals, but we'd been rehearsing in the day and I was going out in the night, I think. I was getting ready, but I was like, I want to make sure I look quite cool. And I was like, well, I'm friends with Amber now, so I'll just FaceTime her and say, if I was a guy...
Like, is this an appropriate outfit?
Would this be good? And you were like, no, not that. Definitely not that. And then I'd kind of...
So, honestly, I literally...
take a screenshot or something.
I helped Ben get ready for a date. And I was going to him, have you put deodorant on? Have you brushed your teeth? Didn't I? And then he was texting me during the day saying, I was like, how's it going? He was like, it's going really well. I was like, why didn't you have a shot? Do you remember?
Have a shot and kind of take the edge away.
Yeah. And then he FaceTimed me the next morning and I was like, oh my God, how did it go? And you were like, we were snogging all night. Do you remember?
I do, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I do. And it was a
we were just friends, literally just friends.
Yeah. But that's why we were having those conversations, because we didn't ever think that it would get to that point.
No.
So, that's how it started, really. But I guess that's quite nice, because when you start off as friends...
Well, I don't know about you, but I'd never actually had a boyfriend that I was friends with first.
Yeah,
I always just kind of started dating them.
Yeah. And you should say why you weren't friends with me. Isn't it?
Weren't friends? No.
Oh, sorry. You should say why you why we were friends.
I'm going to be brutally honest with you here.
Yeah.
I actually thought Ben was gay for the first 3 weeks of our contract.
Yeah. Which is fine, but I was...
Do you know why? Because you didn't give me the vibes that you fancied me, and I thought, well, he must be gay.
Right, okay.
Yeah, you didn't give me you didn't flirt with me at all.
Well,
And I just thought, amazing actor, amazing voice. There's no way he's straight. He must be gay, and he doesn't fancy me.
I'm not a flirter anyway, though. Like, I just I'm just like friendly and
me.
Yeah, but you were like, oh, and I was like, oh no, I'm not gay.
Yeah, then basically I asked him a question implying that he's gay, and then he turns around and says, "Oh no, I'm not gay," and that was awkward, wasn't it?
Well,
we were walking to Soho House. Well, you were like, "Oh, I don't take offence."
I was just like, I don't, and then it all changed for you then. And then your eyes just changed.
Boom. I was thinking, those B flats you're singing sound a bit different now.
But yeah, that was funny. That's funny. So that's kind of how it started then.
And then basically we've been asked what our first date was and how you asked to be my girlfriend. And this is actually a really romantic story because we were off to see Jeremy Jordan. Do you remember? You'd invited me to go with you to see Jeremy Jordan at Drury Lane Theatre.
So that was when I asked you to be my girlfriend. Yes, it was.
And you asked me to be your girlfriend that day.
Yes, we went out for some dinner before, didn't we? And I asked you that.
And basically the vibes changed. After I found out he wasn't gay, the vibes changed. And we fell in love with each other before we even like physically kissed, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was more like a mental thing.
We just got along really well, and I think the crux of it is we've been brought up very similarly.
Yeah.
And we have families that are very similar, our values are similar. Yeah. I think we just clicked.
Yeah, we did click.
So it was kind of from day one, and then it just kind of, we didn't really force it either. It just kind of went like this. And then all of a sudden we were just living together. I was like, what?
and sharing a dog.
Yeah. And now, I'm a dog dad.
It all happened all so quickly, but I've had a lot of questions asking, were we scared to kind of commit being in a relationship like with a year-long job ahead of us? I don't even think I thought about that.
No, because we both know the career we're in.
Mm.
And, if one of us has to go on tour, one of us has to go on tour. It's just how it is.
No, I think because people were asking, we were scared to commit to the relationship with a year-long...
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
I thought you said
contract ahead of you.
Oh, no.
Because we were going to work together for a year and we were kind of...
Yeah, if we did break up, then it might have been a bit...
sour.
But I also think that we're two people that if we ever did get to that point when we were working together, we would have kind of just got on with it.
Yeah, we would have. It's
both
work first for both of us.
For each other. Might have been awkward the first couple of times we kissed in the car or something. Or in Pretty Baby when you're putting your hands all over me. But
to be honest, when I went into the relationship, it felt so right that those kind of thoughts didn't actually cross my mind.
No, we just kind of got on with it and just it kind of blossomed from like a natural place, and we just worked together and spent our time together.
Yeah, it was a very intense year though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because we worked together, travelled together, lived together pretty much. So we were like absolutely in each other's pockets.
Mm.
But there wasn't one moment out of that whole year where I thought, God, I've had enough of him.
No, of course. And I think actually from doing that so intensely to then having like the opposite of you.
Well, it's like we've seamlessly slipped into having a long distance relationship.
Yeah.
Maybe we needed it.
Yeah, well, maybe. But what I'm saying is it's worked because I think we've done that side of it, of the intense, and now the not so intense. And we kind of find this middle ground of making sure that we are in communication all the time.
Yeah. We have the same base,
keeping up.
you know.
We're both very busy when you're away doing one show and I'm doing another show, and we do all these extra things, like you're going and recording a podcast this day and I'm going to do a photo shoot with Corey or something. We know that we both have things to be getting along with, as long as we, kind of have a call at the end of the night and say...
I think because that first year of ours was so intense, we did build like a real solid foundation. So me going away on tour doesn't really bother us because like we're very solid in where we are and what we want. We live in the same house, we have the same base. Don't get me wrong, like, oh my God, there's days that I text you, I'm like, I just miss you so much and I just want to come home. But it's lovely because we get the opportunity now to miss each other.
Yeah.
And like now, like Ben can clean the kitchen. I don't have to do any of that.
I clean, do the washing.
Dog dad.
Full-time dog dad now. But it's quite nice because I know this is just how it is, like as actors. Like
it's temporary.
There might be a day where I'm off on tour and you're home and vice versa. Or we could both be on tour at the same time doing something, or both in town again. Like it's just kind of, you have to take it as it comes in the career that we're in.
And I always kind of vowed that I wouldn't date an actor, but now that like I'm in this committed, solid relationship, I feel like, God, it just makes this industry so much easier because you completely understand and I completely understand.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's easy. Like you don't have to try and explain to me, look, I'm going away. We know.
Yeah.
We know
or like auditions
the score.
Or whatever the case.
Yeah. Self-tapes, you know, that's like golden tick because we can help each other.
Yeah, and that's been funny.
We've
that
had
has been
some
funny.
moments.
Yeah, I remember that one you did for a TV show. I can't remember what it was, and you had to do this ridiculous voice, and it was just hilarious.
Ben had to do one the other day, and he actually asked me to stand behind the camera because he was singing like a love song, and he was like basically singing it to me. And I'm not joking, guys. He finished singing, and I was just sobbing. Wasn't
But it was
I?
so helpful to have you there and kind of because when you're doing a self-tape to nothing or no one, it's so hard. So that's great. You know, we can help each other and understand each other, and
Yeah. Right. One last question for this section because we will be doing a part 2, which is
so we come to the end of the first one already.
Yeah, lots and lots of questions. In part 2, we'll kind of be just jumping straight back into questions.
Okay.
This last question is going to be, how did you disconnect from being Ben and Amber to Marty and Lorraine on stage if you we had an argument or something?
Right. We were always pretty good at that, weren't we? Always pretty good at kind of not
bringing it on stage.
Well, as soon as we stepped on stage, we were Marty and Lorraine. But I think it's because we started as Marty and Lorraine.
Yeah.
We never were Ben and Amber. Well, of course, we were never Ben and Amber, the couple, before we were Marty and Lorraine.
Yeah.
So when we went on as Marty and Lorraine, we kind of went into that zone.
Yeah.
So that was never really a problem for us, was it?
No, and we actually didn't have many moments
didn't.
where... I don't even actually remember having one argument.
I think we might have had maybe 1 or 2 tiny ones.
I know, we did, because I drank from your water bottle side of stage.
Oh my God, I could have killed you. And you could have killed me.
Better because that.
Well, do you know it's the lipstick around the what's it called, the nozzle?
Ben, I was gasping for water.
I know.
Either your water was directly in front of me.
And where was yours? Next to it.
No, it wasn't.
Was
it was
not?
in my dressing room.
Oh, right, okay, sorry.
And I
maybe that's why
remember, but I think I'd done it quite a few times, or maybe I'd done it every show.
Every
and
single
this
show.
one point in the show where I'd have a sip of his water and I'd leave lipstick around it.
But if you did it now, if you literally did it now...
You'd kill me now.
No. If you did it now, if say you just went back and played Lorraine tomorrow and you did it, I literally would not care because it was like... Do you know, it was the fact that it must have been because you were doing it every single day. I was like...
I remember we were in between scenes and he came over to me and he was like, you're going to have to stop drinking water from my bottle. And I remember thinking, all right then.
Yeah.
Well, you can stay at your house tonight then. When we lived apart.
But that's the stupid stuff that we were doing.
Probably the extent it would go.
And then we'd go on for the next scene. We'd probably be laughing about it. Or not laughing about it in the scene, could I just say. Because we'd be Marty and Lorraine, very focused.
We never brought it on stage.
Yeah.
And then it was actually really sad, just to finish off, we didn't kind of get a final show together as Marty and Lorraine. So that's, maybe one day when we work together again.
That was a blessing though, because
I would have been a mess.
You'd have been a mess. And I was upset, there's a certain part in the show where Lorraine and George are saying goodbye to Marty in 1955.
And I say, are we ever going to see you again? Marty, are we ever going to see you again?
Yeah.
And I would have sobbed.
And then the day before, because I had to go off because I was a bit unwell. I started getting a bit upset.
You were unwell because I was leaving.
I was physically sick that they're going.
But yeah, so that is the end of part 1 for Mr. Ben Joyce. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
We will be back with part 2, going into more of the bigger details of our relationship. Yeah. But yeah, I hope it's everything and more, guys.
See you in part 2.
See you in part 2.